Welcome to Say Like a Champ, episode 209. It's your boy A-Dub.
And your boy Strizzy. What's up, SLAC fam?
What's up? What's good indeed? We are back in the building for another week of sports and really excited. A lot of things going on, a lot of things to prep for, you know what I'm saying? College football technically has already started.
Yeah.
But of course, the big opening weekend this weekend, and then we're only 1 week away from NFL, 1 week from Thursday.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for us. So definitely exciting times on the show for sure.
Oh, I know, man. It's the most wonderful time.
Exactly. And it does feel like that, speaking of the holidays in that way, that especially once football season comes back, everything else just starts to steamroll. And, we blink and it's the end of the year. So we don't want to take this time for granted. We definitely want to enjoy it. And we appreciate y'all spending some time with us. We got lots of people in the building already. We got Mom, what's good? We got Kelly.
Oh, Kelly.
Stephanie Washington as well. Welcome. We got Anthony Wesson. And then we also got Pops as well. Good evening. So we got a great crew to get going already. And we want to appreciate you guys as you come into the show for hitting that like button, for commenting, for being a part of the show, and for engaging with us, because you guys really craft what we're going to talk about week to weekend. And we're here to, chat with our SLAC fam. So thank you so much.
Exactly.
Thank you for being here with us. Oh, we got Grace in the building.
Grace is here too. Almost a full moon.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be some craziness for sure. Watch out for the werewolves out there. They said this one is like a super blue moon or something. It's very rare. But I'm like, every moon is rare because they rename it every time. So
I know. Rules.
We had the super blood red moon, the super crypt moon. Every moon is something. But that's what's up. But thank you guys for being here. We'll definitely get into some college football later, but both Moms and Kelly are very excited for that as well. So lots to look forward to. We also want to say shout out to our brother Marcus, who's not here with us today, but as always, he is a part of everything we do. We love him very much. So shout out to our boy Mad Marcus as well for all your support behind the scenes. And we're going to go ahead and get this graphics up. And we're going to go ahead and jump into our first topic of the day. What's up next?
Oh, let's check it out, man, real quick.
Tuned to NFL Talk. Let's get it. All right, NFL Talk. So today was cut down day in the NFL. Every team had to whittle their roster down to 53 people. And one of the most notable cuts that came that I wanted to get your opinion about, Strizzy, was the hometown team, the Cardinals. They cut Colt McCoy yesterday. And leading into this year, we know Kyler Murray is going to be on the PUP list, at least miss 4 games, but possibly miss a lot, miss a lot. And Colt McCoy was suspected to be the starter there. They have a 5th-round rookie, and then they just traded for Joshua Dobbs like 2 weeks ago. So what did you think of Colt McCoy's being cut, and what do you think the Cardinals do next?
They're tanking. You know what I'm saying? They're tanking. I think Colt McCoy definitely put them in the best position to win a couple of games. Like, they're not going to be good this year. You know what I mean? Like, the receivers are kind of on the downward. They just traded D Hop to the Titans. And honestly, like, we're talking about the PUP list, but I don't think Kyler Murray plays at all this year. You know what I mean? Like, a torn ACL takes at least 9 months, and dudes who recover from that return to football are the Petersons of the world. You know what I'm saying? It don't happen very often, right? So let's just say we get 8 to 9 games in, the Cardinals have won 2-3 games. They're not going to bring Kyler Murray back. You know what I'm saying? So I think the reason why they cut him is they don't want to really give themselves a chance at all to win. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're tanking, and if they're lucky enough, they're gonna. I can't imagine them going after Caleb Williams because they just gave Kyler that big contract. But who knows? They used their 1st-round pick on Josh Rosen, and the very next year to Kyler Murray. So who knows, man? Who knows? Not to mention Kyler Murray. My bad. One more thing is. Not to mention Kyler Murray's contract, next year might not be as big as, some other people are going to keep getting paid. So you will be able to trade him to a team who's really looking for some of a franchise quarterback. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was my first thought too, is I was like, oh, they're tanking, like it's official. For Cardinals fans, like, I just kind of feel bad, like, with a team like going in, especially with like a rookie coach and just with the situation where they're not going to have their quarterback, they're rebuilding, and all of the moves that they make just make it seem like they're looking towards 2024 and beyond. So
Yeah.
kind of is not a lot to hope for, except for maybe getting that high draft pick, which means it's going to be a lot of awful football. We want to welcome in Unk from Texas, who Colt McCoy from Texas too. That's what's up. And Unk says Cardinals will be historically awful. I agree. I think it's going to be a rough go of it. But I only hope that they use this time to actually build for the future somehow. Like if it has to be that way, and not just do this again.
They'll finish last in the division for sure.
Yeah. Unk says we want Kurt Warner back. Yeah, maybe they can start looking in grocery stores, see if they can find somebody, somebody that can help them out. Anthony Weston's got the jersey on there. I don't know. That's some cryptic signs. Anthony Weston, you're gonna have to help us out with that. I don't know what you mean by that. But let's see what else we got here. So that was one of the biggest cuts, or at least most intriguing cut to me. But also we did have our boy Melvin Gordon, who was cut for the Ravens. He signed a 1-year type of prove it deal, but apparently he's not really going to get that chance. Strizzy, you watched the Ravens closely. What did you think about Melvin Gordon getting cut? Did you see that coming, or?
Kind of. The funny thing with the Ravens, man, is that Melvin Gordon's a very injury-prone running back too. He's been injured pretty much throughout his career. The crazy part is a lot of the backs on the Ravens are all injury-prone, but they're also all really good when healthy. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that, right now with all the running backs being healthy, DK's back, Gus Edwards is back, all those guys are still healthy. So, I feel like, amongst the ones that have, Melvin Gordon's probably, I don't want to say the worst, but probably the worst. You know what I mean? So, they're going to go in with the guys that are used to, I can't say used to the offense because now they have a new offensive coordinator, but they're going with the guys that are already on the team. And I guess Melvin Gordon just didn't do enough to
I feel that. I feel that. We'll see what happens. Maybe this is the end of his dream or the end of his time in the NFL. But if there's an injury for sure, or who knows, maybe the Colts, which we'll talk about that in a second too, what's going on in their situation. But maybe a team will find themselves in need of a veteran running back who can come in at least get a little bit. Anthony Weston says that's the tank top. Okay, that's too funny. Okay. And yeah, he said put some respect on his name. That's Super Bowl champ Melvin Gordon. That's funny. So a couple other things to look into, which is kind of interesting, but kind of weird. But there was all of a sudden a flurry of activity with kickers, specifically veteran kickers. We had 2 different trades involving a kicker, with Nick Folk going to the Titans, and then Will Lutz going from the Saints to the Broncos to reunite with Sean Payton. They actually cut Brandon McManus, who's pretty solid kicker, but I don't know what's up with all these kicking moves at the end of the day. What's up with that?
Super weird.
It's today of all days too on cut down day. I wonder if there's just some teams that were willing to go with I think the Saints for sure, they're going like a rookie kicker, so maybe those competitions were a little bit closer and they're just let's get what we can. But interesting that we had that going on. I did want to talk about a couple players that are starting on the PUP list, including Von Miller. Is Von Miller out of gas, or does he still have something left in the tank, in your opinion?
I think he's starting to look kind of like me, where it's where Julius Peppers was at the end of his career, right? He's not going to play a whole game, but he could definitely come in on some third downs and stuff like that. So you're still going to see him contribute. He's really strong, super smart veteran player, Super Bowl MVP. You know what I'm saying? He has a lot to give, or I'll say some to give, but he's not going to be in there, playing 80% of the snaps and stuff like that no more.
Yeah.
The good thing is he's on the Bills defense. He doesn't have to. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, I feel you. They did grab Leonard Floyd, so maybe he'll eat up a lot of the minutes in between, and then like you said, they can use him to kind of be that change of pace rusher, the specialty rusher, in those certain situations. Another player who, sadly for me, starting on the PUP list, Jonathan Taylor, after going through some back and forth with the Colts, and also he was rehabbing his ankle, but basically he's starting on the PUP list because they weren't able to work out a trade for him. He requested a trade 2 months ago, and then 2 weeks left in preseason week 2 or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, you can actually seek a trade, but put him in a bad spot. And I feel like they thought he was going to cave in. Well, he hasn't. And as a sacrifice, he's going to miss at least the first 4 games of the year being started on the PUP list.
Dumb. Yeah, I mean, like I feel like, you know, he especially amongst a lot of the running backs, like he had no leverage. You know what I mean? Like he's going into his third year, something like that, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I mean, bro, you still got like 2 years left at least on your rookie deal, right? So I feel like he had no leverage going in or requesting that trade. I get it. All the running backs right now are irritated and frustrated about their money and their long-term contract deals. But you had one season where you were like the best rushing running back. Other than that, you've been injured. So I think you should have just kind of kept quiet for a little bit, had maybe kind of a prove-it season, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then maybe, you know, talk to them about, you know, a restructuring a deal or whatever the case may be. But I feel like he pulled that frustration cord way too soon.
I feel that, yeah, especially after last year, he had the dip down, he had the injuries. But if we're talking about, you know, his that first year, like, I mean, he was gangbusters. Like, he was one of the best backs in the league, and he still has that talent. So I really did think this was going to be, like a make it or break it year for him to where he could bounce right back into that high regard. But now with him starting on the PUP list, and then what happens? Does he just come back and he's disgruntled, or are they still trying to work out a trade? He might be another guy like Melvin Gordon, though, where it's like it might have to take like an injury or a job becoming open for real suitors to emerge for him. So
yeah, definitely.
That one's kind of disappointing, though, to me. I wanted to see him have a great year and just basically have a full offseason and come back really healthy.
Same.
That'll be delayed a little bit. Von Miller, Talk Pop says Miller's basically done wasted money, so glad the Cowboys didn't sign him. And yeah, he'll be a super luxury for the Bills, but I think he still might have something to contribute. But yeah, Anthony Weston says Von Miller dead cap $62 million over the next 2 years. Yeah, he knew what he was doing when he signed that 5 years in Buffalo or whatever it was.
Yeah,
we had a feeling.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't going to get to the end of it. Yeah. All right, one other interesting trade I definitely had to discuss here was Trey Lance getting traded from the 49ers to the Cowboys. And I really like this move because for the Cowboys, it's low risk, high reward. You know, it's basically just taking a shot on a guy, but also still upgrading our backup position because he has that athleticism. He plays a more similar style to Dak. If there were to need to be somebody to come in, and also he needs time to develop. So this could be a really good situation for Trey Lance. And I feel like maybe even just getting out of the 49ers situation with all that loomed there will be better for him in the headspace. But what did you think about this move?
Yeah, you know, Brock Purdy played in his first preseason game last week, took his team downfield, scored a touchdown. You know what I mean? I feel like there was a competition in the preseason and you know all that stuff, but I think Purdy had it the entire time. I don't think he ever had it. So then that makes him available, right? He's young, first round pick they used on him, so you know, easily moved. But I think for the Cowboys, I feel like for the Cowboys, it's Dak insurance, right? For me, that's what it is. I think I talked about this last year after the 49ers beat them in the playoffs that like Dak's last year was not exactly a great year for him. He turned the ball over quite a bit. And I think Jerry Jones is kind of on him right now. Like this is, he hasn't come out and said like, you know, this is the year you got to prove something to us a little bit more. Right. But I think this is truly him saying like, you got to prove something to us. You know what I mean? I feel like it's NFC Championship at the very least, or they're going to be looking to draft another quarterback next season. And I think Dak's contract is only through 2024. I think this is what is right, the extension that they gave him a couple years ago.
Yeah, so basically, like this would be the year where they're going to have to make something happen.
Exactly.
You know, after this year, they would make that decision. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, you know, like I know Dak's your boy, but I feel like this was like insurance for them. It's kind of like if Dak don't play well, if he has, you know, another high interception, you know, year again like he did last year. They're going to be looking to see what Trey Lance has, and if they need to, you know, look into the draft next season. But Dak's got to show he has to show up. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got to play well. He has to play better.
I agree. No, I agree for sure. You know, and it's like not necessarily to put too much pressure on Dak, but just to turn the heat up on him a little bit. Just let him know, hey, there are other options. Like we can go do other things. with Cooper Rush behind him, even though Cooper Rush played well, and you've seen, what kind of clamor that started over nothing.
For
But
real.
it's like even that, like he never felt too worried about Cooper Rush, like the athleticism, like that's just a way different level. But bringing in somebody to develop, just let them know, like, hey, you got to make something happen. So I definitely think this is a kind of a prove it year for Dak. And it's crazy though that all the conversation about him not getting his money, he finally got his money. All the conversation about he's not worth that money, but yet he's already fallen behind in the rate, in the pace of like QB money scale. So like it was a good deal, and they're already looking to like either they're gonna have to re-up it or they can get out from under it. So these GMs are smart. They know what they're doing for sure. So when people get all outrageous about how could they do that and this, it's like there's always an out, like either for the player or the team. So
exactly. Pop said the best Jerry runs the show. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I saw Dak was really upset about Will Grier being let go. I thought that was weird. I didn't know they were that close. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea they were that close. But he seemed pretty upset about it. But you're right, man. When Dak went out last year for 4 or 5 games, something like that, like Cooper Rush stepped in and
he went 4-1, won those 4 in a row, and people got all excited.
Like he played really well. So hopefully, if anything, this kind of lets Dak know, like, okay, like if I don't play well, like they're looking beyond me for a Cowboy. So maybe that, like you said, ignite a fire underneath his butt, and he'll just play better just because he knows there's actually someone competition-wise who they're willing to put in if he doesn't get the job done.
Yeah, and that's basically what Pops is saying here too. If Dak disappoints, Trey can be our starter. Just needs coaching and stabs. But he says Dak will come through, just to be clear. So, but yeah, it is that insurance. You never know. And Stephanie Washington mentioned Will Grier as well. That was kind of a sad situation, but it was also kind of dope the way it ended for him because they knew going into that 3rd preseason game that they were going to cut him after they made the move for Lance. And he has to obviously understand that it's a business, but it's hard because then you have to go out and put on the uniform one more time. And, but that was his showcase for the rest of the league. And Dak also called the plays for the offense during that 3rd preseason game. So that was pretty gangster to see that. And he also wanted to kind of feature Will Grier. He went out and had a heck of a game. I haven't seen yet if he's gotten signed. I don't think he will, but practice squad somewhere, for sure. I think he'll be around in the league a little bit more. Anthony West says the only thing is interesting is they didn't tell Coach or Dak about this move until after. But like Pop says, Jerry runs the show. He wasn't trying to wait and ask any questions to anybody else.
Right. That's what it always cracks me up too, because like, why? I feel like Coach, maybe you let him know what's happening, but like, why? I just feel like Dak, it didn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, why would they need to tell Dak, oh, hey, look, we're trading another quarterback on this team or releasing a quarterback on this team because he's your butt? Like, there's no need for that. Like,
right?
Dak's going to hear it the same way everybody else does. You know what I'm saying? Like, business at the end of the day. I hate to say it because he's like, they don't owe him. They don't owe him that. You know what I mean? Like, if they were going to release Dak, I'd hope they'd be like, hey, Dak, just let you know, man, we're going to let you know what I'm saying? Like,
make some moves,
Don't let him hear that in the media, but like to make a trade, like I don't think they need to tell him that.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Surprise.
Unk says McCarthy is gone. Dak better deliver this year. Both those things are true. Jerry Jones wants at least one more before he fades away. Absolutely. He has to. Like he came into the league crazy, got 5 in his first like 8-9 years in the league, and then hasn't gotten any since. So not 5, 3, my bad. But yeah. Anthony Weston, though, I love this. If you don't want your owner all in the videos, all in the coaching room. For sure. With Jerry Jones, he's gonna be all in the room for sure. All right, so we're gonna do a little exercise to kind of prep us for the NFL, and I know we're going a little bit long on this, but we don't have too much other stuff. But this next slide is gonna get kind of busy, but we're gonna start off with the new signal callers. Just wanted to reset and show, quarterback being the most important position. Like, let's not play around. Like, let's be honest. It is the figurehead of the team, the guy who makes it go. So wanted to look at the new signal callers. We're going to do this kind of in waves. First, we have the rookies that are actually starting. So these are rookies that have earned the starting job. CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and your boy, yours truly, Bryce Young. What do you think about this group, and who do you think has the best chance for immediate success out of these rookie starters?
Funny thing is, when you talk about immediate success, I mean, none of them. I feel like they're all 3 are going to struggle a little bit. Colts don't exactly have the best wide receivers. Texans definitely don't have the best team. And right now, between like the Panthers and how new their team is, like the offense is just so new, coaching staff so new. Like none of the receivers are the same except for Terrace Marshall. He barely has gotten any playing time since being drafted. They're all going to struggle. But I think, if I feel like the Panthers have the most complete team right now, if they can get it together, you know what I mean? As far as like veteran receivers, veteran tight ends, veteran running backs, as far as that goes. But I think the person who has the best year, in my opinion, right now is Anthony Richardson. I think he has. I think he's the one I wanted. I think he looked the best in preseason of them all. I was happy to see Bryce Young in their final preseason game finally go down and score his first touchdown. You know what I mean,
Right.
to Adam Thielen finally. But as of right now, like we were looking to do good, and you would hope to want to see something a little bit more in the preseason, but we didn't. So if we can get some stuff going, let's hope. But I think Anthony Richardson, as of right now, is kind of he's going to be the Justin Herbert of the draft. You know what I mean? Didn't go first, second, third, but I think he's going to be the best of the class.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Unks threw his opinions in here. He said Houston will win 5 games. Indianapolis will win 5 games. Carolina will win 3 games. I think they'll win more than 3
They'll
games.
win more than that just because the division is so weak. You know what I mean? But they'll win more than that.
Yeah, I agree with you though. Out of this group, it was tough because none of them are prime to step in, right? And none of these teams have like ready-made situations, but that's also the point. That's why these guys went early. That's what happens when you get drafted early. So I don't really know, but I do kind of think Anthony Richardson, just because of the raw talent, he'll be able to kind of figure it out. Yeah. And sort of like Lamar Jackson, like I don't want to compare them totally, but remember like when they finally let him in and they finally let him play, like even if he didn't have it all put together, like he just made things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what is going to happen for Anthony Richardson. But I think we do need to be patient with all 3 of these guys. And in the long term, we'll kind of see how they develop. But right now it's going to be rough, man. They're going to have to learn. So Anthony Weston has a sleeper for us though. And I did see this earlier. We'll see. Maybe that'll be a good guy. Hopefully he can get into the fold quickly. But I think they just traded him like this week, right? Or a couple of days ago.
Today, I think. It was like earlier today. Yeah, he's actually, I think he was I think he had the most receiving yards and touchdowns, or second most receiving yards and touchdowns in the preseason. So he looked actually really, really good as far in KC. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing him, and hopefully he stays on the team or whatever. But he definitely looked good. I'm happy to see him because we already had some injuries at wide receiver. Chalk's been hurt. I know Terrace Marshall missed a couple of games for some minor injury stuff. So we'll see what happens. But no, he definitely looked really good. So I'm excited to see him as well.
For sure. And Anthony Weston, one last note on here, says the Panthers are better set up because they have an offensive coach. The other 2 have decent coach. That's a great point. Who's going to be in there working with them, trying to set them up for success more? Probably be the Panthers.
Yeah.
All right. So this next wave of guys, we have 2 guys who are brand new starters, but not rookies in the league, right? We have Jordan Love taking over, and then Sam Howell for the Washington Commanders. And Ron Rivera came out today and was talking about how if he knew what he had in Sam Howell, he would have played last year. I don't understand how that's possible because the Commanders went through all kinds of quarterbacks towards the end of last year, all different kinds of situations. So I don't really buy that. Like, there's no way, like, all of a sudden you noticed in practice, like, that this guy was phenomenal.
Nah.
Like,
that's Rivera's way of just trying to give his new starting quarterback some, let him know that we're riding with you and we're trusting you, and you know what I mean, and to pat him on the back a little bit so he knows that they're going with him and trusting him. I mean, ain't no way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that at all.
I don't think so either, but that's a good point. Yeah, he's just trying to, make better of the situation. But the other guy here we have is Jordan Love. I'm really rooting for Jordan Love. Right. I think that, like, he could be, like, sneaky good, and who knows, like, maybe the Packers win more games this year and actually make it in the playoffs. Like, you never really know. I think he has the talent to come in and do it. He hasn't had as much experience, but you would think if he's been developed and he's had all these practice reps, he's been in the league for 2 years now, he'll be ready to go. So I'm actually most excited to see Jordan Love.
They definitely have a chance, man. I mean, I think when Aaron Rodgers had that really, really down year as a quarterback, they ran the ball really well. they've literally drafted defensive players, besides this last year or whatever, getting the going wide receiver first round. So the defense is the best it's looked in years, and they have a great running game too. So don't make him do too much. You know what I mean? Let him be a quarterback, because I hate when coaches don't let your quarterback play quarterback. You know what I mean?
Throw a ball or throw down.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's why Mac Jones is struggling. But I'm rooting for him too. You know what I'm saying? I hope he goes out there and does well.
Yeah, for sure. Unk says Packers will win 9 games this year. I think that's last year they won 8, maybe
something like that.
And Weston says Jordan Love, I feel, will be better than expected. He has a good coach, solid running back, supportive organization, should have a solid defense. Yep, all of those things are true.
Yep.
So I am excited for Jordan Love as well. Unk says Ron Rivera is a great guy, just not a good coach. And it's hard that sometimes they say you can't be both. I think you can, but I think it takes a special combination, and that's more like an Andy Reid kind of guy. But Riverboat Ron, definitely his players love him. He's definitely a player's coach, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the next wave. So this one we have veteran guys, 4 different veteran guys that are stepping in. I guess we'll ask the same question, even though it may seem obvious, but who do you think out of these guys has the best chance for success or will have the best year next year?
It's tricky, but it's got to be Aaron Rodgers, right? Like who knows how much he still has left in the tank? Like even that picture, he just looks old. You know what I'm saying? Like he just looks old in that picture. But
right.
But when you think about it, though, Jimmy G still has one of the best receivers in the league. You know what I'm saying? Actually, if I'm being completely honest, the other 3 aside from Aaron Rodgers have the best receivers. You know what I mean? Like he's got Garrett Wilson. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he still hasn't played with an elite quarterback yet. But all 3 of those dudes actually have better receivers than the Jets do. So, but Derek Carr too. You look at Chris Olave. He's a beast. You know what I'm saying? I think he's gonna be his first one. Don't got a lot of hopes for Baker Mayfield, but he still has Mike Evans and what's the other dude's name? Chris
Godwin.
Godwin. So he's got both of those dudes too. So they both got they all have great people to throw to. But when it comes down to who has the most complete team, Aaron Rodgers is right up there with that defense, good coaching staff, and he's got a solid parts on offense too. So it's definitely got to be the Jets.
Got you. And actually, Anthony Weston, he jumped on this one. He said Derek Carr, and I actually think it's going to be sneakily Derek Carr too. Yeah. And I hope this isn't just my dislike of Aaron Rodgers, but I honestly part of me just doesn't want to see them have a really great season. I don't want to.
I want them to bomb, bro.
But yeah, I mean, I know the Jets defense will be good, and I know that they have pieces on offense, so I think that they will be good. But I do think that Derek Carr is going to be kind of sneaky. If Michael Thomas comes back to any form of himself from 2 years ago, and they kind of get those weapons going again. Mm-hmm. And also the Saints have such a good home field advantage. I think that that's really underrated too, for whatever reason in the Superdome. Yeah. They just handle business. So yeah. I think he will sneakily be maybe have the better year out of these quarterbacks, at least statistic wise, but still, I don't know. I still think the Jets, might make the playoffs. Unk says the Jets will not make the playoffs, though. He says the Raiders will not make the playoffs, and the Saints will barely make the playoffs. So,
I think Saints win the division. I think Saints make it. They win the division. I think Jets make the playoffs too, but it's still the Bills' division, in my opinion.
Yeah,
definitely still the Bills' division. Raiders are going to be tricky, man. It's going to be tough because the AFC is so loaded at the top. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the NFC, the AFC North, I think 3 of those teams get into the playoffs. So it's going to be tough.
True, they can get 2 wild card spots.
Exactly,
for sure. Anthony Weston says I think Derek has the advantage of being in a bad division.
Exactly.
Pop says he has the most weapons. Carr has the most weapons, but he says Rodgers should be good and has a better team overall, probably.
Yeah.
And then my favorite comment so far of the night: Baker Mayfield will make 2 more commercials, then lose starting spots. Honestly, Baker Mayfield definitely we thought he was on his last life when he surfaced with the Rams at the end of last year.
Yeah.
But now, he lo and behold, here he is with another starting job. Yeah. Well, we'll see how that works out, but I don't have too big of expectations for him.
You know what I'm saying? Smart on him to go to a team who didn't have a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Especially because he played decently well for those last like 2-3 games, yeah, for the Rams last year. So I think I think that helped him. But yeah, man, it's crazy.
And he's a competitive, scrappy type of guy, right? So especially in practice and all that stuff, like he looks like he's giving a lot of effort and everything. But and they didn't have a lot of better options, like you said. They didn't have a quarterback. Now the last team on this list that we talked about already, the Cardinals, they have not named their starter yet. They're going between a 5th-round rookie and a guy that they just traded for that was basically going to get cut 2 weeks ago. So yeah, the Cardinals have yet to name their starter, but like we talked about, they're pretty much tanking, or we at least suspect them of tanking. Mom says glad Baker's no longer on the Rams roster for sure. We've been we've been over him for a while. All right, so this is my last thing, make or break a year. I think I wanted to just go through these guys real quick, and then I want to ask you and our slackers who has the most to prove or lose this year. We got Chase Young, who's trying to get back to that rookie form, and they did not pick up his 5th-year option, and he just cannot stay healthy. We also got Russell Wilson, now in his 2nd campaign with Denver Broncos, now with a short guy, quarterback coach type of guy with Sean Payton. Then we also have DeAndre Swift, who I think is a sneaky candidate on this list, but basically was kind of not necessarily given up on by the Lions, but basically deemed expendable. The Lions got rid of both their running backs from last year, and he's going into a situation where they have a lot of other running backs. So, will he really be that number 1 guy? And then also we spoke about him a little bit. Michael Thomas, can he is this his last blast in the league? So, so Strizzy, I lay that out for you. Who do you think has the most to lose or prove, and why?
It's crazy. Like I feel like Chase, not at all. I won't say not at all, because he has been a beast, but he gets injured kind of a bit too. You know what I mean? Like I said, we alluded to Swift. That's tricky because he's been injured. They traded him, and the Eagles have like 4 running backs in rotation. You know what I'm saying? But they have a great offensive line, so maybe that helps them stay healthy. But for me, it's definitely between Russell Wilson and Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas had that great year where he set all those records, and he literally has not done a single thing since. He got injured, had some bunch of ankle injuries. And it's like, when you look at the name, it's like he's the best player on the offense on the Saints. But is he still? We haven't really seen him play. We don't know. So I feel like this is going to be one of those years where it's like make or break. If you can't get it together, like he might not have a job at all, next season. And then with Russell Wilson, I think he's just as high because he played so horribly. A lot of people, including the Broncos organization and Sean Payton, have talked about how poorly the coaching staff was for them last year, right? So I feel like Russell Wilson, in order to hold that be true, has to have a complete 180 season this year from last year, right? If he has another piss poor year like he did last year, can't get it to the receivers, like he's gone. They're gonna drop the quarterback too. So it's definitely between those two. But like you said earlier too, quarterback is the biggest most important position. So if thinking about just that, it might actually be Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I feel you. There's a lot of great points there. I'm going with Russell Wilson as well, just because of like how bad it looked, and also like going into a new situation, right? Like I always am leery of like players that like went to a situation where like in the perfect fit for them, overachieved already, and then they try to switch it up. Like to me, like I'm not saying like Russell Wilson, obviously like he was the man right up there, but I'm like, what if like Tony Romo would have gotten traded from the Cowboys or left the Cowboys? Like, would he been the same anywhere else but the Cowboys? Like that's the kind of situation where I'm at, where it's like, man, if you don't bounce back, if you don't prove it, like that your game travels, like especially after last year, like that'll be it for him. Like he will. This will be his last chance, I think, quickly. And especially when it's like, oh, now you've got this offensive guru and Sean Payton. He knows just what to do. You should be just like Drew Brees. That's like a high measuring stick to match up to. But at the same time, like based on what we used to see, like we're expecting that. So I know he's got a wonderful life. You know what I'm saying? He's got the family and the kids and all that stuff. So maybe that's good, But I just don't want them to. I don't want him to like flame out and to go out like that. So I'm really hoping he has a bounce back season. Mom says Wilson needs to get it together. She also said, I hope Swift can be successful. Pop says Wilson has been completely trashed by the media, so he's under a lot of pressure, but I would pick Young. So he's going with the defensive guy on this one. Okay. Ong says if Russell Wilson doesn't regroup, he'll be out of the league 2 years and lose Hall of Fame credentials and consideration. Dang. That's yeah, like you're right, because like even the Hall of Fame like conversation, like he was on a whole different trajectory than he is now. And so I can see that. Anthony Weston says Russ as well. He probably wants to prove he didn't need the Legion of Boom. But maybe he does. But Denver's got a solid defense too. So he's out of excuses if it doesn't work this year.
Yeah.
For Michael Thomas though, I'm kind of with you on him kind of being that close second, just because it's like, dude, what happened, man? Like you were the best receiver in the league, like, and you know, I don't know. So all right. That's what's up. So that was our little exercise for make it or break a year, kind of also going through that kind of starting the starting quarterbacks. But Stephanie Washington mentioned earlier, and I appreciate her bringing it up. It was perfect timing. She said, what's the scoop on our Pick'em this season? So Pick'em is back on. I actually reactivated the league earlier this afternoon, so everybody should have gotten an email basically inviting you to come back in. But I did basically just renew the group. So everybody that was in last year should be in. But also we have a link in our bio, or if you go to saylikeachamp.com, then you can just click on that and that'll link you to our fantasy league. And it also has like the group number and the password in case you want to look it up that way. But I invite people to invite people, and I want to make it even bigger this year, the competition, so that we can kind of, can continue to grow our gang and continue to have fun with that competition. And as just like last year, we'll be doing Super Bowl squares each week for the winners. So yeah, let's make it happen.
Yep.
Also, with that being said, next week we'll have the double schedule. So we'll have our Tuesday show. It'll be episode 210, and then we'll have a Thursday show to kick off the NFL season, and we'll do our first Secure the Bag. Strizzy and I, we still got to work out the timing on that exactly, but
we'll get it.
But it will probably drop like in the afternoon. Like the game starts at 5. The games like Thursday games start at 5, so we'll try to have it out by like at least like 3 in the afternoon for at least our time. So a couple hours before game time, that should be pretty dope. All right, let's keep this thing moving though. Or anything else on football that you wanted to mention? I know there's so much to cover, so I try to kind of whittle into a couple topics.
Well, you're good, man. I think that's pretty much it.
All right, that's what's up. We'll see any other news or any other signing shiftings before, but until then, we're counting down to kickoff. So let's go ahead and get to our next topic. All right, so I know Anthony Weston will be happy to see this guy on here, but not a lot going on for the NBA, so we definitely got to talk World Cup. Austin Reeves shined for the Team USA squad the other night, had 15 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, and 2 steals, all off the bench in basically like 17 minutes. So super efficient. But what I thought was funny is like he got a Player of the Game trophy for like a random like second game of this group. So like I didn't know what's up with that. But since when did they start giving out Player of the Game trophies for like every game of the tournament?
I know. That's crazy.
I'm like, dang, what's up with that? But he's definitely balling, as Unc says. So that's what's up. Team USA has moved on to the next stage, even though they have one more game in their group, and it's tomorrow morning. I think it's like early tomorrow morning. But I've been trying to just catch the highlights. I honestly haven't watched the game live yet. Have you?
No, it's been too early.
Yeah, it's like way too early. So we'll keep watching the highlights. They'll keep balling out. Maybe if they get to the end though, and they have the final, hopefully they'll adjust it a little bit. But maybe we'll wake up early for that one.
Definitely.
So Unc says Brandon Ingram, poor showing. That's my boy though. Yeah. So give him grace, man. Give him space. He's a baller. He'll get it together. It's actually interesting though. So far, the second unit has been way better than the first unit. I feel like
Ingram, honestly, he's kind of like it's weird to say that Brandon Ingram's like the veteran on the team. You know what I'm saying? But he's really not playing as much either as a lot of the other guys. He's probably playing some of the least amount of playing time. So
yeah,
that's part of it too.
He's almost just, you're right. Like he is even though he's very young, he is a veteran for compared to them. So he's kind of just playing like a more, more laid back role, which he's kind of a laid back guy. So that makes sense. We'll keep things moving with that. Still nothing really on Harden. And I don't really expect anything to happen. Like, that's so crazy. But him and Dame are just basically in limbo. But pretty soon, camps are starting up. Preseason starts in October. So you would think something's going to happen. But we'll, as soon as it does, we'll break it down here.
Yep.
One interesting thing, though, Giannis made a little bit of waves the other day saying, with some statements regarding basically like his goal is to win a championship, whether that's with the Bucks or not. With less than 24 hours after that, there's rumors that the Lakers and the Knicks are both interested in Giannis if and when he becomes available. It's funny that we talked about this like 5 years ago with Giannis, like before they won the championship, where it was like at a crossroads. It's like, man, he shouldn't stay. He needs to go somewhere else. What do you think now, though? Do you think this time he really should leave, or do you think the Bucks can try to put it back together?
No, I think he should leave. You know what I'm saying? He did exactly what probably no other player in the league could do for them. You know what I'm saying? He won them a championship with the team that and don't get me wrong, like they had a good team. They were coached really well. But you put somebody else in that star spot, they probably don't get it done. You know what I mean? Giannis, honest to me, arguably is one of the best, if not the best player in the league when healthy. So he did exactly for Milwaukee what he was supposed to do, and it probably won't happen again. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I feel like, dog, you did exactly what you could do for a really small franchise in this league. They've had some great players and won some other championships in the past, but it probably won't happen again, dog. So like for me, if I'm him, I'm looking elsewhere. I think he's, because of his personality and how good he is and the motivation, I think he'd play well in any of the bigger cities. I'd hate to see him in New York because they're so poorly ran. But if he were to put on a Lakers jersey, he'd fit in right away. You know what I mean? He'd fit in. Honestly, in my opinion, he'd fit in more than LeBron does, just because of that competitive nature that he has, that beast mode mentality that he has. Like LeBron doesn't have that. You know what I'm saying? It's not in him. We've seen it. So I think Giannis should. He's not. I don't think he'll demand a trade. I don't think that's really in him like that. But once this contract extension that he took is over, like he should go somewhere else.
That should be it. Yeah. Well, I know Anthony Weston. I would love to see him with the Lakers, and like you said, I think he would fit in really well. It would almost be like a reverse LeBron, right? Where it's like LeBron left and got his championships with Miami, came back, and he's like, okay, now that I've done it, let me deliver one here.
Yeah.
Giannis stayed down even when it didn't look like he was going to make it through, and got the championship for the Bucks and where he was drafted. So now I do feel like if he were to leave, it's kind of not the same. Like it wouldn't be, to me, I wouldn't frown upon that or be like ring chasing. He's like, I've done it. Now I want to, keep doing it or stay.
Yeah. So. Play for a bigger franchise. I mean, I feel like to me, there's nothing really wrong with that. And if we're talking about the current Lakers roster in the next year or two, LeBron's probably gone. AD might still be there. I know he just got the contract extension, but with his health, who knows? You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even say he's ring chasing. I feel like if he were to go anywhere, it would be just for the fact of wanting to play for a different, maybe bigger franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. And playing for the Lakers, like, it is different. I think that players, it's funny, they were actually talking about Austin Reeves was over there kind of talking to the other Team USA players about like the differences or the kind of the fringe benefits of being a Laker, right? And like what comes with that. So I definitely think that that would be dope to see Giannis in a big time franchise like that. Now, speaking of the Lakers, since this is an all Lakers kind of segment, I guess, they did announce that Kobe Bryant will be joining the statues outside of Staples Center. He will be getting his own statue, and it's going to be on 2/8/24. So February 8th, 24. You got Gigi's number in there, and then both of Kobe's numbers in there. They played the Nuggets that night. It's a Thursday night, and I already looked. There isn't a ticket less than $900 anywhere in it. And I'm sure, despite even going to the game, it's going to be packed out, like all down, up and down City Center right there, for people just coming, because you don't need to have a ticket to the game to see the statue outside. So I think it'll be pretty cool. But I do like honestly, like the style of the Lakers statues that they have out there. Like you see here, like they're all coming, like bursting out of like these little like weird like venom like things. So you know what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah.
bottom part is pretty crazy, but I'm interested to see what kind of statue they do. Like I think like a pose like this would be super dope.
Yeah.
Or some kind of a fadeaway, but
Yeah.
Kobe had so many different shots. He doesn't have like an exact like signature shot, like a sky hook or something. So I don't know. But what do you think? What do you think of a Kobe statue? Like what kind of statue would you put?
Yeah, it's funny. You basically mentioned, I think this picture would be really dope. I think I used that picture for the birthday picture, you know what I'm saying? And if not that, then the patented, I can't say about patented, but the fadeaway that him and Jordan made look so effortlessly, you know what I mean, their whole career. So the fadeaway would be dope. Or another one too might not be as like epic as one of those two shots, but even just him hunched over with his jersey in his mouth.
Oh, that'd be gangster.
You know what I'm saying? Like that
That'd
one.
be really tight.
I think that one would be dope too. Maybe kind of like watching out, all Staples or crypto. I hate saying crypto, but like
still Staples.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Like I feel like that would be it's dope. We knew it was coming, but I think the 2/28/24 is so legit. You know what I mean? So or 2/8/24 would be so dope.
Yeah, they always end up playing with the numbers just right. But I am interested to see like if there will be like anything referencing Gigi on there either.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but I'm sure that they'll come up with something great, and the unveiling will be really cool. But definitely shout out to Kobe. We always talk about that mentality, and that's why I do think though that's a great idea, brother. Like having him just be like that stare, like that mama mentality, that intensity, something that would be pretty gangster. So
it would be dope. Like it would be real dope.
Yeah, most definitely on the same page as Unk there. But yeah, so that's our basketball talk. Again, nothing too crazy, but we're about a month away from like training camps opening for basketball too. So like we said, once this thing gets rolling, there's no stopping it. Next up though, for other sports, we do have some baseball news. This was pretty interesting. Last night, some fans ran on the field. One fan at first, in between innings, and approached Acuna, like ran up to him and basically like give him a big like hug.
Yeah.
And then like was trying to actually take a selfie with him and like, to the side, like and hugging around him. But it was really awkward. And then security guards slowly got there and then kind of grabbed at this guy's legs and stuff. And then another fan came running in a lot faster, a lot more aggressive. He was just also trying to take a picture. And more security came, tackled him, but they all kind of, when that second fan came in, they all kind of crashed down to the ground together. Really crazy though. I want to put the video up on our YouTube so you guys can check it out. But I just thought it was crazy because it's like the fans were so chill with him, and I do commend Acuna for like really honestly being chill too, and like not immediately just like swinging on the fans or going crazy. Like kind of was just like, oh, okay, this is awkward. But it was actually like a real calm situation until security got there, and then it got a little bit crazier. But one of the fan you see here with the gray hat, like he literally was like dragged away, like kicking and screaming like a little kid. Like
he was jumping up, trying to get past security. He kind of overdid it a little bit.
Yeah, like I mean, and this was later in the game. So the beverages were probably flowing, had a chance to build up a little bit. But yeah, a really crazy scene, but honestly could have been a lot scarier, especially considering like how slow the security was to get there. Like if that first fan wasn't just trying to give him a big group hug and take a picture, like if he had ulterior motives, like he could have done, whatever. So
yeah, exactly.
That was crazy. For Kobe, got a shout out to Stephanie Washington. She says, "Love it, perfect date." She says, "That's my birthday."
That's what's
up. Yes, fellow Aquarius in the house, Stephanie. That's right. That's pretty cool though. So definitely a special little birthday treat for Stephanie Washington with the Kobe statue. Let's see. Kelly says, as a fan, is it worth getting banned from seeing your favorite? That's true. Like honestly, like it's so funny because it's like they approached it as if they're just like, oh, but I just wanted a picture. It's like, yeah, but you can't just run out onto the field in the middle of the game. Like, are you? Well, not in the middle of the game. It was in between innings, but still, like the game was on. So, that's just not the way to do it. Like come for batting practice, hang over the rail or whatever.
For real.
But don't run out onto the field. That was pretty crazy. And I'm sure they're both banned for life after that.
I know.
So,
which is tough. He's so good too. Like he's so good.
He is. And that's what's crazy too. Like I think he came out like after this, and like in the ninth inning, he had like a 2-run double, like after the fan incident. So
Oh,
people
he
were
tore it
worried
up.
about him because he got knocked to the ground. He's like, I'm good.
Yeah,
So
he tore it up
um,
last night.
yeah. Other interesting news today too. So we didn't talk about it last week, but Shohei Ohtani does have to have, or he has like a torn UCL, so he's gonna have to have Tommy John surgery, similar to basically what happened with Brock Purdy. But I think the same kind of surgery he would have to have. He is available to DH, but basically the Angels, they were having a rough year. Then right up before the trading deadline, they started getting hot. They won like 10 out of 11 games, and they decided, you know what, let's go all in. Let's keep Ohtani. Right after that, Mike Trout goes back on the DL.
Yeah,
Ohtani gets hurt now; he can't pitch anymore, which he's their best pitcher.
yeah,
And then all of their other high price guys have basically been trash. Immediately they lost like 10 games in a row after the trade deadline went by. Now they dropped they designated for assignment like 5 of their high price players, basically just trying to get salary cap relief. So
yeah.
they've given up on this year. And I think it's the last time we'll see Ohtani for the Angels too will be the rest of this year. I think he's going to leave for sure.
Yeah.
But just sad news for the Angels. They were so close, and they had basically 2 of the best players in the world, but they can just not get it together.
Yep.
So, some funny little comments over here. Unk says, does that mean Stephanie has a jump shot too? And Stephanie says, only if there's a trampoline. And then Stephanie Washington in reference to is it worth it meaning you're getting banned from seeing your favorite. That's so funny. So good stuff there. All right, next up, one last thing we want to really touch on here is college football is back. My squad, Georgia's going for the 3-peat, but honestly, like I don't know that they'll be able to 3-peat only because it's so hard and it really just does not happen. I think the last time was like 1918 or 1920 something. So I think it's going to be a tough road. And I think the schedule is actually going to work against them. The fact that they don't have a lot of hard teams, maybe they won't get enough adversity until it's too late, until it is those late season games that are really important. But, I'm going to be rooting for them all the way. And they are favored in all of their regular season games. So I'm just more worried about SEC championship, and playoff games. Yeah. But it's exciting what they're going after. But I really like Kirby Smart has the mentality of like, not worrying about the 3-peat. He's like, I'm trying to get this team to win a championship.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Teams doesn't have anything to do with this team, and especially in college football, it really does reset from year to year. It really is like a brand new team. So we'll see what Georgia has in store for this year. Another interesting thing, the Sun Devils, because of recruiting violations that happened with Herm Edwards in the 2020 year, whenever it was like a blackout period, they actually are imposing themselves like a self-imposed bowl ban for this year. So they will not be able to go to a bowl game. And man, that really stinks. Like for me, college football, like it's all about going to a bowl. Obviously, not everybody can win the championship, but there's enough teams where it's like, okay, well, at least you play well. You get to go like on like a little mini vacation, go have a fun destination game. As a player, like I hate to say it like that, but I would be super checked out if I already know like I can't even go nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Especially at this point, you can't transfer no more. You know what I mean? Right. Like that really sucks. It's kind of like when USC got that ban for the Reggie Bush stuff. You know what I mean? And no one was going there anymore. It's like why would they? You know what I mean? It's like yes, USC, at that point in time was one of the best football schools in the nation. But it's like I'm not going somewhere where I can't really compete for anything. You know what I mean? Like ain't no way. So it does suck. You're on a team and like now it's basically just like, okay, now I just got to ball out to try to be drafted as high as I can, but I can't actually compete for a bowl. That kind of stinks. So it definitely does suck. I saw that it was self-imposed too, but NCAA probably told him something like, hey, look,
do something or we will.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's self-imposed, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we'll see. Sucks for the players, you know what I'm saying? Especially the ones who had nothing to do with it, you know what I mean?
For sure. Anthony West says ASU wasn't going to a bowl anyways. Ouch. That's funny. Maybe not. So maybe they don't really trip and they're like, okay, we'll go ahead and self-impose this. But it's very interesting, though. They basically got dinged for the same violations that Coach Harbaugh at Michigan did.
Yeah.
But instead, he got a 4-game ban, just him. And this, you have a whole team not going to a bowl game. They would never do that to Michigan, though. Too much money to be made.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Kelly agrees with Anthony, but that's her squad, so that's her alumni, so still rooting for them. But that's good stuff. And it is crazy, though. We talked about the football season has already started. We had Notre Dame play this week and USC. Caleb Williams already started his Heisman campaign. A couple other games I think will be really interesting. LSU, Florida State should be a really good one coming up on Saturday. And then also on Thursday, we have Florida versus Utah. And Florida is unranked, and they're traveling to Utah, who's ranked like 17th. That's pretty gangster. That should be a good matchup. But I still feel like Florida's going to give them a game. I don't know.
No, for sure.
So we'll see. Unc says, what's up with the Pac-12? So the Pac-12 is still the Pac-12 for this year. And then after that, they're going to be the Pac-4 unless they make some moves. So still to be determined on what's going to happen with the Pac-12, but that's where we're at with that. I think that's pretty much it. The golf season ended with Victor Hovland winning the FedEx Cup. Just wanted to keep our golf stuff going, even though we don't have our golf expert with us today. But that's what's up. Basically ended the PGA Tour, and he got $18 million, which is the biggest purse in golf. Can't be mad at that. Do your thing, young man. And he will also be part of Team Europe when the Ryder Cup starts later this year. And then also we got the U.S. Open going on right now. Coco Gauff almost lost in her first round, but she battled back. So we're obviously rooting for her. We need an American champion, So we're definitely rooting for her in the U.S. Open. But check that out. The first week is just barely starting, so lots of good tennis coming along. And that's about it.
Yeah.
The countdown to football is on. That's what it's all about for me, really. So I'm definitely excited for that. But I guess we're just right about time. And again, I will remind you guys to check your email for the Pick'em League. I want everybody to get their picks in every week too this year. Like I'm gonna really try to not miss any Thursday games. I would try to, I would be missing certain games, or when they do their special Saturday games or those early games. So I'm gonna try really hard to get every single game in this year. And I want to see who is the champion. But this year, it was Stephanie. Last year, it was Stephanie Washington that snuck in there at the end, I think, and barely ousted Anthony Weston at the end. So let's have another great competition. I know it'll go down to the wire, and I really appreciate you guys participating in that with us. And the Super Bowl squares will be flowing again, and Secure the Bag will be flowing again. We'll see if we can get some money out of here, too. And yeah, so lots to look forward to, but I think that's it. I think we'll go ahead and sign off. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with us. Just checking the comments real quick. Nothing else too crazy. Mom says tennis is heating up for sure. But yeah, I think we did it. I think we made it. So again, appreciate y'all. Strizzy, anything else you want to touch on before we dip on out of here?
Not at the moment, man. Like you said. If you guys, when you sign up and you get the link, share it to other family members who are football fans, friends who are football fans. Let's try to get the Pick'em League as big as we can. The biggest we've had it so far. I'm getting ready to grab it and share it to all my social media stuff to see if anyone wants to jump in. But yeah, man, share the link. Let's get it big. Yeah, for sure, definitely, we'll do that. And until next week is already episode 210. I can't believe how time is flying by. But yeah, until next time, it's your boy A-Dub and your boy Strizzy.
Peace.